Poor Harry.
Okay, the red.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Really awesome to see you guys.
you.
Can't believe I'm talking to 7 and 9. Yes. So at the
Achievement unlocked.
so at the close of the last season of Voyager, there's a scene where Neelix is leaving the ship, and the whole crew is there. So did that provoke any personal emotions for you guys?
Oh my God,
knowing
of
that,
course.
like,
I
of
was
course,
sobbing. It was,
Right.
that was awful. Saying goodbye to my Johnny, my Ethan Phillips, I love him. No, that was very hard. That was very hard to try and be stoic.
Agreed.
Because I also am not real good at like showing any emotion. I can either like try and hide it and it's all completely buried, or I'm sobbing. I don't really, it's very difficult for me to, I'm not a graceful crier. So I can't do like one single roll of tears. And I turn like red and blotchy and I'm snotty and I'm crying.
There's no middle ground.
And I cry really easily. I'm a big crybaby. So yeah, that was hard.
Speaking of one tear, it's not about tear, but this was the craziest day. We were filming on the bridge, and close-up was on Paris, and he was turned to the side, and he actually sweated only on the side away from camera, which was amazing. I thought, you are a pro! You allow sweat to come down on the side that's not to camera? So it was just like, wow. All right, over here. That was so random. Sorry. Hi.
Hi. I just want to say, Jonathan, I've been watching Star Trek. I started watching TNG with my dad when I was little. And so I remember your episode, and we watched that together. So I'm so excited you're here. And for Garrett and Jeri, Voyager started when I was in middle school, which obviously
Me
is...
too. Yeah.
Right?
I was in grade school.
It's an incredibly awkward time for girls who are nerdy and into science, but Voyager carried me through from middle school through university, and now I'm in the STEM field. So, yeah. And now my 4-year-old daughter has started watching Voyager as well. So what I really wanted to say to Jeri is thank you for being a badass chick of science.
Yeah!
Awesome.
Thank you for being a real life badass chick of science.
No question, just that comment. Thank you.
Awesome. Next, please.
Science rocks.
Science.
Hi.
Weird. Hi. Hi.
John-
Where? Which
John-
one? Hi.
I'm sorry. Jonathan, I'm just really curious what it was like having such great scenes with Patrick Stewart, especially as a young actor.
Amazing. I mean, I have to say, Patrick and Whoopi were both so kind to me and so fantastic. You know, my first scene was actually the scene where I choose to not stay on the ship. What a fool, right? Please stay on the ship. Patrick Stewart's saying, you can stay here. And you're like, no, I'm gonna go. I don't want to be a series regular or anything. Not a good choice. And my ears, my headpiece had everything covered, so I could hardly really hear very well. And he and Whoopi were both so kind and generous as actors. And Whoopi, for example, insisted that I do they call it coverage, your close-up before hers, and they turn up the air conditioning for me. And Patrick, you know, just the level of his work is, you know, mind-blowing. And I was just really proud to be able to work with him. So it's a highlight of my life, really, as an actor.
Next time,
Yeah.
you taught him everything he knows.
Yeah, right.
That's your next hint.
Not so sure they're gonna buy that. Not so sure.
Next question on this side, please.
Jeri,
Hi.
can you compare and contrast your experiences on Voyager with your experiences on Dark Skies?
Oh. Dark Skies, I don't know if any of you are familiar with that one. Do you guys know it? Dark Skies was my very first series. This was a show that ran, I believe it was NBC. It only ran one season. And I was added for the last, 6 episodes or something, the last half of the season. That's my job. I'm the designated pinch hitter. I tend to join shows midway through. Anyway, and this one was, NBC had given it this huge send-off when they launched this show. It was about, it was a period piece, took place in the 60s, and the premise of this show was that Roswell was real. So that the aliens had landed, and it tied the aliens' basically invasion of Earth into all of American history since then. So the assassination of Kennedy, all of it was tied into the aliens and the cover-up. And so NBC had given it a big launch and then sort of just let it go and never promoted it again and tossed it to the wolves. But anyway, that was, you know, it was my first series, and it was a great show. It was really well done, and I was playing a Russian agent who was another really strong, kick-ass kind of chick, and it was amazing. And I got to work with who I dearly miss, J.T. Walsh, who was a phenomenal actor, and it was just it was my first job. Well, not my first job, my first series. So everything was like, oh my God, another series regular on a TV show. So everything was just amazing and perfect and wonderful. So I loved it. And I loved working with those guys. And I was the one that when JT was being grumpy and he wouldn't come out of his trailer, I was the one to go, come on, JT! I was like a cast cheerleader. Voyager was actually, I'm trying to think, I think it was really, really soon after I finished Dark Skies. Actually, it was right after, wasn't it? But that was a lot harder work environment. It was not as, it wasn't a joyous experience, unfortunately.
Thank you. Yeah, another question on this side with the ears. You wearing ears? Yes.
Yeah, Minnie Mouse.
You're Minnie Mouse. Hi, Minnie.
Hello.
Hi.
You guys have mentioned First Contact before, and I love that movie.
It was amazing.
Except for one scene.
What?
The scene where Jean-Luc shoots, or they kill one of his own members, crew members, who just got assimilated. Like, he has no chance because he's been assimilated. How did you guys feel about that scene? Like, since you played Borgs.
I can't remember it, sorry. I'm being honest, I can't.
Yeah, I don't remember it either. Who shot him? Picard? Shot one of his crew members?
Yeah. He was getting Borgified. There was no way to save him, so they took him out. I felt bad about it. I did. Starfleet perspective.
Life's a bitch, baby.
And then you're assimilated.
Someone's got
That's a T-shirt. Life's a bitch, and then you're assimilated.
Well, I hadn't, really gotten down the art of separating somebody from the collective at that point, so I guess you gotta give
Was
them
the
some
Borg in a
slack.
red shirt?
Oh well, that would have been a giveaway.
Yeah.
No, I think what they were trying to do was address his feeling of being Locutus and how he
yeah.
So I think what the scene was showing
There you
that
go.
had someone had the opportunity to prevent him from actually being a Borg, that's what he would have liked to have happened.
Yeah, what he said.
There you go. Just pretend we all thought of that.
That's great, good answer.
Can we go to this side here? Yes.
Hi
sir.
there.
Hi. Thanks for coming, you guys. You guys are awesome, by the way. This is more of a question for Jonathan, but if I remember correctly, Jeri had some experience with this too. How long did it take for that Borg costume to come on?
Hold on. Yeah, I think I have, that's the question that's been asked about 44,000 times. But thank you for asking it. I bet yours was different than mine.
You had a black turtleneck. I
No.
want to tell me how difficult your costume was.
Jeri thinks our makeup and costumes were
No, the
equivalent to
makeup
mine.
sucked. The makeup sucked.
No,
I'm
it
going to
did
give you the
not.
makeup sucked.
It's mine. My costume was made up of pieces of that were left over really from the previous Borg. It was, and they were.
Huge
You had hand-me-down
patchwork
Borg. So it's very patchworky, and it took 4 hours to get into makeup and costume altogether. But here was the little part that they didn't tell me about. They got me into a bottom bodysuit that had this long zipper from ankle to ankle, which I later figured out what it was for. And then they got me into a black leotard that had a zipper from ankle to ankle. And then they began applying individual pieces of heavy and not well, filed down rubber, like tire rubber.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it was like tire rubber. And so each piece was added on individually on top of the headpiece that was makeup. So 4 hours the first time, and then we got it down to about 3 hours as we did it. The days went on. However, going to the bathroom took about a half an hour. but
Dude,
I had,
dude.
yeah, but I had the zippers, so.
Yeah, we were zipper free. We only had that zipper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You?
Yeah, the costume sucked.
But you can.
It looks amazing. It was really cool. But yeah, getting in and out of it was not an easy process. Actually, either one, full Borg or the cat suit, they were both a whole issue. But yeah, the Borg suit was a trip. And the initial, because the way they made mine, they didn't use the heavy rubber anymore. Now they use latex and fiberglass and all this other stuff to make it. But so the initial, the process for it was I had to get a body cast. Full body plaster cast from my neck to my ankles. Standing with your legs apart, holding onto these two poles. Which was really fun, as you can imagine. Think about that when the plaster finally hardens and you're on an inhale, and then you like try to, or not exhale. Then you try and inhale and you can't because it's hard. So that was fun. And then they made the base of the suit out of neoprene, like wetsuit material. Which, great, stretchy, and you thought it'll be perfect. But then they start piling all the layers of the latex and the rubber and the fiberglass and all the other stuff that goes over it. And that stuff all hardens, and as it dries and kind of solidifies, it kind of contracts a little bit. So the suit around my neck, once I got on set and actually had to move around in it, if you turned your head in any direction other than straight forward, it pressed on my carotid artery, which is problematic. And so, no, some people think that I actually face plant fainted. I never actually went down. I just blacked out. I got faint, yeah, and then had to sit down. But and the first time it happened, I was afraid to tell anybody because I'm the new kid and I don't want to make waves and I already have to shut it down if I have to go to the bathroom. So the second time it happened and somebody actually saw me go, then they made some slits in the neck and it was, wow, that took care of that.
We had stunt guys in the Descent episodes, big, burly, fit, like Marine type dudes that we lost. Like it was in the middle. We were shooting in the middle of summer.
Oh, they dropped like flies.
They dropped like fly.
Yeah.
They were like,
Oh,
yeah. We had like about 20 or 30 of them that like we lost half. We lost half the collective. By lunchtime came around and they were like, "Where is everybody?"
We are the Borg. We are oblivious to everything but heat stroke. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm actually claustrophobic, so which is something I didn't find out until I shot Star Trek. Yeah.
But yeah, well, I was explaining getting a life cast made, which is a mold of your head for these prosthetic pieces when they sculpt the eye and the cheek and all the stuff. And you think you're not claustrophobic until you have a plaster cast on your head, and the only thing that's open are two little straws to breathe through in your nose. Then you get real claustrophobic really, really fast. Yeah, it's quite the process making these prosthetics and making these costumes. It's an amazing process. It's really cool. Unless you're the one in.
If you're not in it, yeah, it's great. It's great to look at.
Exactly. Thank you. Over here, a question. Hi.
Question for each of you. If you could have played any other character on the show, who else would you want to be?
I guess I'm first because she's looking at me. I think Guinan.
Oh, Guinan. Nice. Good choice. Jeri?
The Doctor. I got to play him once. He's fun.
7 of 9.
I like Guinan because she works at a bar.
Okay, we have a question here, right? Yeah.
Thanks again for coming. Just a quick question for Ms. Ryan, but everybody can answer if you'd like. I was under the impression, and I may be wrong about this, but when you first started in Star Trek, you were kind of hesitant about this whole coming to the cons in general. Do you have any fan stories from coming to the cons, positive or negative, whichever way you want to go with that for each thing?
Yeah. Star Trek was very new to me when I signed on, and so I remember you were one of the guys giving me the pep talk before I went to my first convention. And he was trying to prepare me. He's like, you really need to know what you're going to see. It's not normal. It's very different. And so they were trying, I think Ricardo, and I don't remember who else was there. They were all trying to prepare me, right? But you can't really be prepared. You can't. If you're not from this world and you're not, I was never a science fiction fan at that point, and I hadn't really seen much of Star Trek, so I didn't really know much about it. And I walk in, the car pulls up, and I walk in the front door of the hotel, and I am greeted by a dozen Klingons in full Klingon regalia, speaking Klingon with the blood wine, kapla, or whatever it was. And I kind of went, yeah. And I turned around and got back in the car, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. Kyle back me up right there. He was with me. And so the car literally drove around the parking lot for a few minutes while he like talked me off the ledge. And then, you know, I came in and you meet people and you realize this is no different than like the rabid football fans who are wearing cheese on their head in the middle of a Wisconsin winter. You know, it's passionate.
It's passion.
It's enthusiastic, it's fun, and God, it's great.
Yes.
I mean, you guys are the most amazing fans in the world.
Yes.
God bless Star Trek. You guys rock.
Jeri, will you just, I want to read this scene. Can we just redo this, please?
Yeah!
This is the scene, no, this is the scene from, no, this is awesome. This is the scene from when, well, you get to direct us, basically.
Exactly.
This is the scene, basically, when Seven and Ensign Kim are in the mess hall. And you guys know what happens here.
And it's handwritten, too.
Ensign Kim, personal log, Ensign Kim, personal log, stardate 51186.2. Working with 7 of 9 is starting to get a little awkward. Tom's right. Anything more than friendship is a bad idea, but I can't stop thinking about her.
This happened.
7 walks into the room. Seven, that's your cue.
You wish to see me, Ensign.
I don't think they heard that. Go ahead.
I feel like we're living
How old are you?
outside.
Wait.
Are we
Come on, let's go. No, let's go.
You wish to see me, Ensign.
That's better. I had this midnight inspiration about reconfiguring astrometric projectors. I hope you weren't regenerating.
I was not.
This is tricky stuff.
He's
It could use your.
insane.
Will you be 7, please? Don't be Jeri. This is good. Please. It's
a really long scene.
We're doing it. It's quick. It's quick. This is tricky stuff. I could use.
Nobody got time for that.
It could use your touch, your way of looking at things, a fresh perspective.
Your data.
Ooh, why don't you sit down?
I prefer to stand.
This could take a
No
while. You'd be more
kidding.
comfortable. You'd be more comfortable.
Comfort is irrelevant. We're here to work.
Okay.
This light is insufficient.
But it's relaxing, don't you think? I mean, after hours, quiet. Voyager isn't all Jeffrey's tubes and cargo bays, you know? I mean, I tell you what, when we're done here, I'll take you to the holodeck and we'll run the Qatarian moonrise simulation.
How long did this take you to look
beautiful.
up? You looked this up and transcribed this.
Yes, so please read it. It took me forever. She knows, my assistant knows. We were supposed to do this on the first panel. I didn't get it done. It took forever. Okay. It's beautiful.
Beauty is irrelevant unless you wish to change the nature of our affiliation.
What do you mean?
You know, I didn't like this scene in the audition. Why am I doing it again?
Just humor me, will you?
Oh my God, you are so lucky. I love you. God.
What do you mean?
I may be new to individuality, but I'm not ignorant of human behavior. I've noticed your attempts to engage me in ridiculously idle conversation. And I see the way your pupils dilate when you look at my body. I hated this scene in the audition.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Obviously, you've suggested a visit to the holodeck in the hopes of creating a romantic mood. Are you in love with me, Ensign?
Well, no.
Then you wish to, should we say it together? Then you wish to copulate.
No, I mean, I don't know what I mean.
Really?
It's almost done.
All these elaborate rituals of deception. I didn't realize becoming human again would be such a challenge. Sexuality is particularly complex. As Borg, we have no need for seduction, no time for single-cell fertilization. We saw a species we wanted and we assimilated. Nevertheless, I am willing to explore my humanity. Take off your clothes.
7.
Oh my God.
It's almost done.
Don't be alarmed. I won't hurt you. That plot hole.
Look, this is a little sudden. I mean, I was just trying to, you know, part of the team. Maybe we should just quit for now.
All right. Let me know when you wish to resume our work.
Thank you.
you.